Welcome back to Grandma Willow's Story Tree. Today's story has a beautiful princess, a wonderful little cottage, and 7 friends who could never quite agree on furniture. This is the story of Snow White and the 7 very, very different dwarfs. Snow White had run far into the forest to escape the wicked queen, and when she found the tiny cottage, she was exhausted and hungry. Say, knock. Nobody answered. She opened the door and stepped inside. The cottage was... Interesting. There were 7 chairs, but not one matched another. One was tall and spindly. One was extremely wide. One had wheels on it. One was so short, it was basically a cushion on the floor. There were 7 beds, but they were all different lengths and heights, and somehow all pointing in different directions. There were 7 bowls of soup at completely different temperatures. Steaming hot, warm, cool, cold, and 3 that were somewhere mysteriously in between. Snow White was very confused, but also very tired. She ate the warmest bowl of soup, sat in the chair that fit her best, and fell asleep in the longest bed. The 7 dwarfs came home that evening, bickering cheerfully as always, because the 7 dwarfs were very, very different from one another. Tall had to duck through every doorway. Around was the widest dwarf who had ever lived and took up 2 seats at the table. Zoom never stopped moving and had once reorganized the entire cottage in 11 minutes flat. Slow took approximately 40 minutes to hang up his coat, but he always did it perfectly. Loud had a voice that could shake the tree branches. Quiet communicated almost entirely through very expressive eyebrow movements, and Muddle meant to do one thing and reliably did something else entirely. They came home to find all the furniture slightly moved and someone asleep in the longest bed. Snow White woke to find 7 very surprised faces looking at her. She explained her situation. The dwarfs listened kindly. They agreed she could stay, and then the question arose, as it did every single evening. Where is everyone going to sit? Tall could not fit in 6 of the chairs. Round kept sitting on quiet by accident. Slow was still lowering himself carefully into a chair while everyone else had finished eating. Snow White watched this for approximately 5 minutes and then had an idea. What if, she said carefully, we each described exactly what we needed, and then we built it. There was a long pause. Mudel said he needed a chair that was also a hat. Everyone looked at him. He nodded seriously. They agreed to try Snow White's idea anyway. Over the next week, with Snow White organizing and all 7 dwarfs contributing their very different skills, Tall's long arms, Round's excellent sewing technique, Zoom's speed, Slow's precision, Loud's ability to call across the forest for more wood, Quiet's careful measuring, and Muddle's one accidental genius invention of a folding table. They built furniture that worked for everyone. The new cottage had a tall doorway for Tall, a wide bench for Round, a fast-spinning chair on wheels that Zoom adored, a very well-crafted slow-release seat for Slow. Loud's chair was at the far end of the table. Quiet's was right in the middle so he could see everyone's eyebrows. And Muddle's chair did somehow also work as a small hat stand, which he was very proud of. Snow White had a perfectly ordinary chair, which suited her just fine. They all ate soup together every evening from 7 different bowls, at exactly the temperatures each one preferred, and 1 extra bowl for Snow White, just right. The end. And remember, when everyone is different, the secret is not to make everyone the same. The secret is to find what each person truly needs and make room for all of it. Come back to Grandma Willow's story tree. More stories are waiting for you.